Harim's daughter did the flip bottle challenge and got him to buy flowers for her mum, which was so sweet and heartwarming. That part where she hugged all her kids and jumped on him was the highlight for me, lol. Harim and Ricki Couple is as real as it gets, folks. This was my stance in my last review of them in episode 11, however, some parts in episode 12 seem exaggerated, which I will explain in this video. Ricki and her ex-husband also met. I can't wait to talk about that, but first, let's talk about Harim. In the case of Harim and her participation in the show, it's important to remember that she had been divorced for a year when filming began, and she still has a baby to care for, plus, her ex-husband is involved in their children's lives. It does raise questions about why she chose to seek a new partner on the show at this specific time. One aspect that caught my attention was the portrayal of Harim's kids as chaotic, making her life extra stressful. It's worth noting that many parents who work from home often have a schedule for their meetings, and they usually find ways to manage their children during work hours. For instance, providing them with activities, chores, or screen time to keep them occupied. In Harim's case, it might have been helpful for her to communicate with Ricki beforehand, since his job was more flexible and request assistance in keeping the kids busy while she worked. Let's put some other things into consideration regarding the portrayal of Harim's situation. While it's important to appreciate the realness of her circumstances and empathize with her, it's also valid to question whether certain scenes were staged to generate viewer sympathy. I'll give an example. Naturally, most people would have preferred a private scenery for that online meeting. Like she could have sat with her back against the wall facing the kids and Ricki, or alternatively, in a private area like her bedroom. That way she can easily face her kids and instruct them to behave. That specific scene where she was juggling her kids during that Zoom meeting seemed somewhat contrived to me. I just felt she could have handled the situation differently. Instead of trying to push her child away, she could have temporarily muted her audio or stepped off camera to address the situation, or simply asked Ricki to help take all the kids upstairs. And did you all notice her house had no television? Is it really possible to raise kids with no TV nowadays? Maybe it's just my eyes and the TV is right behind the cameras, lol. Although I love her for highlighting the struggles of working single moms on this show, it's also important to note there are ways you can manage these situations. Importance of being organized, maintaining a schedule, and using communication and verbal correction to manage parenting effectively are some of the ways to reduce your struggle. While her life is undoubtedly challenging, effective parenting can make a significant difference in creating a more manageable and harmonious family environment. It's essential to acknowledge and address these issues in a constructive manner, whether they are real or portrayed just for the sake of the show. Ricki is a real gentleman, taking care of chores and supporting Harim in difficult times, like a trip to the ER where he patiently waited with her sleeping son. He deserves kudos for his actions on the show. Regarding Harim's home, I understand people may have issues with her house being kinda dirty, but it's worth noting that her situation is not uncommon for busy working parents, even with both parents in the picture. So if anyone shames her for having a dirty home when they themselves do not have kids or ever been married, then the joke is on them. I don't think it's fair to criticize her for occasional messiness, as real-life standards often differ from TV portrayals. Single parents, like Harim, face unique challenges, and it's important to empathize with her. And as for Ricki, yes, men like him do exist in real life, although rare. Like the family channel that I watch on YouTube. He married her though she had 4 kids of her own and he had none. But they have an even larger family now, living happily, so yeah, angels like Ricki do exist, but they're just hard to find. Him helping her with the chores, cooking and even feeding her son was no big deal to him, but I think the fact that she's very unorganized may have bothered him more. Finally, Ricki and Harim's ex met. Her brother was meant to come pick up her kids, but he couldn't, so he had their dad come pick them instead. According to her, this wasn't her plan and it came as a surprise. This situation put her on the edge and she seemed pretty worried. This might explain why she never bothered to introduce both men to each other. She couldn't say "meet my boyfriend" or "my friend" to her ex-husband since they both had no labels yet. So instead, she hides away in nervousness. And, OMG, she also forgot to put diapers in the diaper bag. But shouldn't the ex-husband have extra diapers at his place or in grandma's place? Anyways, when the two men sighted each other, they both nodded and said a silent hello. Looking back at episode 1 and 2, Harim's reason for divorce was because he and his family were involved in a certain religion that constricted them to certain ideologies. She started dating him because he was handsome and had no prior knowledge about his religion. Though her husband left that religion after marriage, his entire family was still in it. She said she had a lot of disagreements with her ex-in-laws because of their beliefs and old-fashioned culture that wasn't really fair to women. Apparently they were trying to force her into being who she wasn't, so she filed for a divorce. However, she strongly stated that her ex-husband was not a bad person. But his foundation has constrained him to be the way he was. Now, this explains why her ex can casually come over during filming, because they didn't end the marriage on a bad note, it was differences in beliefs. Her ex-husband was obviously a little frazzled, that's why he was climbing up the stairs but retracted. He was also leaving, but he retracted back again to the house. Then he shakes hands with Ricki. The handshake seemed somewhat like him saying, "Guy, I wish you the best of luck with her, keep your head up and hang in there, lol." He even offered that Ricki had his numbers and could call him anytime, also giving the vibes of "I got your back as you don't know what you're in for, lol." But I wonder what he meant by Ricki had his phone numbers. Maybe he meant Harim having his numbers, or did they exchange numbers right there, or could it be they had met before the filming? Alright, moving on. After her ex-husband left, I expected them to be excited and start conversing about sweet little nothings non-stop, but this duo became awkward and even quieter except for their usual little giggles and all. My hope in this couple is fizzling out and it's making me paralyzed, not literally, but you get what I mean. After watching this episode, I feel like Ricki will have a hard time choosing Harim in the end. He is someone that enjoys physical intimacy, but Harim is too busy to give him that, unless of course, if they hire stay-home nannies to help them out. What do you think about the Ricki couple situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell.